Hello, everyone. Welcome to our channel. My name is Uchenna.
I'm Dior.
And tonight we're going to talk about Put a Ring on It, Season 3, Episode 6, Family Matters. But before we begin, please turn on your notifications, subscribe to this channel, and like this video after you've seen it. Okay, so we started off with Otis and Charlie. Otis had just told Charlie, the whole group really, that he had DM'd his date, and Charlie was super pissed. She was ready to go. She wanted to leave. Do you think that she was overreacting, or do you think she was justified?
See, that's the thing. It's like we don't know what's like going on in their relationship. I think we could see in past episodes that she's insecure, and there has to be a reason behind that.
Right.
And so do I think she overreacted? No, I mean, we know what goes down in the DM. So like, yeah. I mean, her imagination probably just went wild. I mean,
right.
I know I would be thinking of like all kinds of outcomes. So,
right.
And the fact that she expressed the issue in past episodes that he doesn't really communicate much about the dates.
No.
So it just kind of feels like, okay,
she
what
was justified.
Yeah, absolutely. But for me, I'm just like, I don't think that you're at the place where you need to be on this show. Like, why are y'all even still in a relationship?
Right. Like, yeah, I agree. I think that she can't trust. Yeah. She can't trust him. And it seems like for reason. And their communication level is horrible. You know, I mean, you see in almost all of these couples, you see like no love between them, you know, and I don't know if it's because of that situation. They're at this point and they're on the show, but you would think that you would still see some loving moments, and you really don't see that, you know?
I think we may have seen it like a little bit between Kenneth and Shorty, like before now, but like, yeah, you're right. I haven't seen Charlie be happy with Otis since they started. Like, I honestly, like, I'm telling the truth. Like when she said she was ready to go, I was like, oh, good. They're going to go. Like, I didn't want to see.
I'm sorry. I'm like that with all these couples. Like, I don't think none of them should be together. Like, I wonder what miracle Dr. Nicole is going to do to help salvage these relationships, because they seem unsalvageable.
But I don't think the point is to salvage it. I think it's to decide whether or not it needs to end, which I think that all of them do need to end. Or, you know, instead of being in that limbo where it's like why are you expecting a ring? Like, your relationship needs so much repair. Why are you expecting a ring? But you're going to keep riding it out because you've been in
that ring, because you want a ring.
Because you want a ring, because you invested 2.5, 3 years in it, you know, all kinds of reasons. Instead of just saying like, hey, I think it's run its course. Like, we don't need to be together anymore. So I don't know that her goal is necessarily to salvage it, but just for them to like make that
decision. Yeah. And I don't know if I liked her, Dr. Nicole's like advice or her response to what Otis did. It kind of seemed like she was saying it's okay if, you know, he broke their agreement, because that's what this experiment is about, putting your full self into the experiment. So if he wants to DM someone so he can get that full experience, then he should. And she shouldn't limit herself either. So if she wants to do certain things on the date, then she should be able to do it, because that's what this whole theme is about. So,
can I say, I agree. I think I agree with that, because the thing is like kind of the same advice she gave to Shay is like, you don't, if the person is not doing what they would truly do because they're on TV, or because they feel like they can't do these things because they're trying to act in a way to get to the point where they want to be in a ring. I mean, they want to, you know, put a ring on it.
Right.
You're not really experiencing, you know, the process. Ideally, they wouldn't want to DM the person. Ideally, they wouldn't want to continue to go on dates with the same person. They wouldn't find interest in another person because they're so in love with their partner. It's just bringing the issues to the surface, and it's making you realize I don't think she's saying that it's right that he wanted to DM her or whatever, but I think she's saying like he's authentically doing what he wants to do. And you get to see that and you get to make your
decision based on that. Yeah. Yeah, that's
true. I mean, like everyone else who's in a relationship, you don't know what your partner is really doing or really thinking or really wants, you know? So it's like they get to see this and make a decision based on those things.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't think that even helped. I think Charly was so mad that hearing those words didn't really even help her.
Yeah.
And when it came down to like, are you going to do a second date? Otis was like, no, I'm not going to. And then Charly made a remark about DMing her, you know, the DMing thing. And then Charly also said, no, I don't want to. And she was like, if you guys would find me someone I'm interested in dating or I want to date, that would be a good thing. And then Dr. Nicole just shut her down. And she said, what did she say? She said that you're not here to find you your next boo. And that was a mic drop. And that was really good. And, you know, Charly had nothing to say because that's true. Right? So, yeah, they need help, real help. And so then we went to another hot mess. And that is Shea and Alfonso. And like Shea started talking about, you know, what had happened and her reaction. And then she was like, my spouse, and Dr. Nicole's, and she said my spouse. And then the date that she almost got into a fight said, you better get your wife. So I don't know if it's a theme that, you know, maybe Black people, when they're in a relationship, they automatically call each other husband and wife. I don't know. Maybe some Black people, I don't know. Yeah, no. I don't know, because they were saying that. I know there's that wifey term, but it's used loosely, you know, until you're married. But maybe some people think like if you're in a long-term relationship, then that's husband and wife. And maybe they use that as a reason not to get married. I don't know. But
you know, sometimes with these shows, like they could very well be legally married, and you know, they disclosed it to their date off camera, and it slipped. Like
right.
But
yeah, and Dr. Nicole shut that down too. She was like, no, you're not married, and she was like, yes, in my eyes, that we are married. And she's like,
so then why are you on the show? Because you said you wanted him to put a ring on it. So why are you here?
Right.
If you feel like this is acceptable, the relationship you're in satisfy your requirements for being married. Why are you here?
Right. I think, yeah, that's exactly right. You know, but she wants to make it real. But she's saying to herself, they're married, but he is not saying that they're married. Or they would be married. So yeah, Dr. Nicole was right to say, what you're doing is you're putting on this like fake reality that makes it okay for you to be in this relationship because you feel as if you're married when you're not really married. You know, you need to ask yourself, what do you want in this relationship? And she was like, what do you want in this relationship? Tell him. And then she was like, she told him, I want you to stop laughing. And I want you to really listen to me and hear what I'm saying and, you know, respect this relationship. And then he started laughing. And then Dr. Cole was like, there you go, laughing when she just asked you to stop laughing. You're using that to like get out of an awkward situation and it's hurting her.
It's a coping mechanism, but it's actually one that drives me crazy too. Like, It's not funny. It's not a joke. Like, yeah, you need to be serious.
Right. And then I think it's the coping mechanism. But then if you're doing it all the time and you know that it annoys the other person, then I think you're also doing it to annoy them.
But it's hard. If it's something that you naturally do when you're uncomfortable, it's hard. Yeah, you know, it's like someone who has like a nervous twitch or, you know, like pulls their hair or bites their fingernails. Like, I think it is like that. And he would have to like intentionally, you know, think about it. I think it's probably something that comes naturally. So I don't think he's doing it to make her upset, and I feel like it probably would be a very hard thing to change, but you really have to be invested in making that change.
Right. Yeah. But I also wonder if he does it like with everything, like whenever he's in any uncomfortable situation.
Probably. Honestly, like my dad is like that. And I mean, yeah, it's with everything. Like, yeah, everything. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Not like this is so funny, but it's like a chuckle.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he can work through that, because it would be hard to take after a while. So then Dr. Nicole asked them if they want to go on a second date, and they both said no. And basically because of the way that they act, they were too embarrassed to go back.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure that Alfonso would have liked to take that girl on a second date because she was really attractive, but he couldn't. You can't go back. No. So then Dr. Nicole went to Kenneth and Shorty, and she asked Shorty, do you want a second date? And he's like, no, not a second date. And she asked Shorty, how do you feel about that? And she basically said that, you know, she wasn't surprised, that you guys need to give him someone who he's actually going to be attracted to. Not someone that he is able to get, but someone that he's attracted to, so that he can really live the experience, because these girls aren't a challenge for him. And she's right, you know, so we'll see who they set him up with next. And they asked Shorty, do you want to go on your second date? And she said yes, because she felt sorry about the way that the things went at the date. And she felt like she owed him a second date. And people looked shocked. But I wasn't shocked, because she seemed like she really enjoyed him, you know, so she's probably excited to go on a second date with him. Yeah. So then let's stick with Shorty and Kenneth. So they went to the next scene was at the apartment, and it was breakfast. He was making breakfast. And then they had this conversation that was like, I didn't know where it was going. The conversation was like a little all over the place, and it got really heated. It first started off with like Kenneth asking Shorty about what she said at the gathering with the doctor, and asking her to explain herself, and kind of wanting her to apologize. And she wasn't trying to do that. She was like, I said that you go for women out your league because that's what you do. And he's like, so then he tried to make it into appearance. Like, so you're saying that I can't get an attractive girl? And she said, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you go for women that are established and beautiful. And you yourself isn't that. So you're going for someone out of your league. And then it kind of seemed like she was saying that he doesn't work. Did you get that? She was kind of
work, or he doesn't work hard, or
yeah,
on those lines.
Yeah.
If he doesn't work, and that's the issue you have, again, why are you trying to marry him?
Well, I don't think she's trying to marry him. Like, I really don't.
He's the one that wasn't.
Yeah, he's the one that brought that show. Yeah. Okay. I think she's trying to like get rid of him.
Okay.
But she's in love with him, but she knows that she needs to let it go. And so it seemed to me like she was saying that, like you said, I don't think he works. And she's saying he does, and maybe he doesn't work hard enough. But then that got him really upset. And then he kind of called her old, and then that got her upset.
So how old is he? So she's 40. How old is he?
I think he's 35 or younger. I don't think he's older than 35. And then he also said, if I wanted a successful woman, then I can go and get that. And she's like, you have a successful woman, but you're not doing what you need to do to keep her. So I think that really bothers him. And I think he wants to, but he just doesn't know how to, you know? So it was like just a crazy argument that really went nowhere.
Yeah. And I think this is where we are in life, in like society, it's like where we have the gender roles, right? And those are like really prevalent in relationships. But now we're getting to the point where women are working, you know, they're working.
Right.
And they're contributing equally, sometimes more to households. in addition to like all the other, like raising children, all of that other stuff.
Right.
And in a way, we sometimes still have our gender expectations for men, but we want to be treated equally, like in the workplace and things like that. So I can understand that while she's probably still expecting him to, you know, provide and things like that, even if she's able to do it herself. Right. She's probably at least expecting him to do what she can do.
Right. And I don't think she's expecting him to make more money than her, but she wants him to be, you know, bringing in a decent income. And it kind of almost seems like she's like his sugar mama. Like she's taking care of everything.
And so in turn, because of that, it's like she may be treating him in a way that he does feel emasculated. And I don't know in what ways, you know, what she's exactly doing, but probably saying things like, you know, he's not on her level or whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes like I read an article that was talking about like the divorce rates and things like that. And like women who were like higher earning than men were having more divorces. And a lot of times because the men feel insecure about
that happens a lot
more. And instead of like them kind of balancing things to make that okay, they just kind of, you know, step back altogether. They don't, maybe they don't even get a job, you know, those types of things. And so women were having to pay like more alimony and things like that because of that, because the men had never worked in their relationships because they just basically, you know, didn't because they felt insecure. So I know he communicated that he wanted her to talk to him better. And she said
that's when they went out to dinner.
And she said that she kind of felt like she had mixed feelings about it. And she was like, in a way, she was like, oh, good, like man up. So it's just like, maybe she is using those terms to make him feel like he's not good enough.
I definitely think that she's doing that. And it was funny, like when he was like pouring out his heart to her, you know, saying, you're emasculating me. It makes me feel terrible. I try my hardest, but it's not good enough. You're always putting me down. And she didn't even acknowledge it. You know, it did not hit her at all. She was like, well, if you feel that way, and she even grabbed his hand, she was like, then maybe you need to leave and find another woman that you can feel that way with. And I think like what you were saying, like when someone in the relationship, whether it's a man or a female, if they're the breadwinner and is making significantly more than the other person, then they take that power role. And a lot of times they demean that other person in some type of way. And that imbalance makes it difficult for there to be both people to have an equal footing, you know? So I think that's I think it's harder for a man than a woman to take that belittling, you know, because I see that like in Fairfield County, you know, a lot. And so you see that and you watch it and then the women accept it. But for me, it's hard to see, you know, and just like little things that the husbands will say, like what their wives are saying isn't important. And it's not all of them, but you just hear it and you're like, okay, it must be, she's accepting that because he's a breadwinner, you know? So I think that's hard. And if he doesn't want to feel that way, then he has to start doing more, or like you said, get out of the relationship, you know? But maybe he's not capable of it.
But I wonder if, because to me, I feel like it doesn't, like, to me, it doesn't really matter, like, you know, how much you make, but it's like you, again, what else are you doing to balance? You know what I'm saying? Are you helping with other things? Are you, if you're not doing any of those things and you're refusing to work, or you're refusing to try to get a better job, you know, to help. Because not only, you know, like if you have a high paying job, there's probably a lot of stress associated with that. So if you have to also come home and cook and clean and do all those things, and the person, you know, like you're going to feel like, why are you even here? Right. I think that's probably where she is. Like, why are you even here?
But he is cooking, because whenever we see him together, he's always cooking. But for her, I don't think that's enough. Yeah, it might be for TV. But for her, I don't think that would be enough. I think she wants him to earn. And like, I would too. Like, unless we have like 5 kids and you're staying home, you know, taking care of the kids, then you need to be out there working. I mean, I think that's just how we were raised. You need to work. You need to have a job. You have to, you know, bring an income. And if you're not doing that, I think it would make it hard for me, you know, to accept it.
And sometimes you just kind of get to the point in your relationship where it's like, I mean, and I think this may be where they are now, where he's saying that he's trying, but it's like, now we're at the point where I'm not even seeing these little efforts you're making because I need something big, you know? And I think that's when you're like, oh, I need to get out because I do see that you are doing something and
I'm not enough.
You feel bad because I'm just like, no, this isn't enough. And there's nothing really you can do. And I think, wasn't she the one that communicated that? She was like, I don't even know what he could do to make things better. Was that him? Was that the Charlie? It was either the Charlie or
yeah, I think maybe it was Otis and Charlie. I'm not sure. But like, she did say, like, when he took her out for a romantic dinner, he was trying to like get things back on track. And she was like, this romantic thing isn't going to work. I need something.
That's the wrong thing. That's not what I want.
Right.
It's kind of like the whole love language thing. Like, you're loving me in your love language, but I need you to love me in my love language. So she's probably like, you're doing the things that you want to do to like support or contribute to this relationship. But these are the things that I need, and those needs aren't being met.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, so let's go back to Otis and Charlie. So this is the Family Matters episode. So this is what they do each season. They bring in the family.
I don't remember that.
Oh, so this is something new?
Kind of different, like, because usually like every episode is like, you know, they start off, they go on the dates, and then they end at the circle and make a decision. All of this overlapping into the next episode where we don't have a full cycle of what happened in the day. That's new here. So, yeah. Okay.
Well, I liked seeing Otis and his dad together.
Yeah, it was cute. Like, he was like cute back in his day.
He probably was. He'd probably give Otis a run for his money. Yeah, he was good looking. And like, at first I was like, oh God, he's not even going to listen to his dad. But he did. He listened to his dad. His dad gave him great advice. And when he said that, you know, I listen, but I don't think that she knows that I listen. I was like, what? Then you're not listening, you know? And that's his dad was like, listen, that doesn't make any sense. You have to let her know that you're listening and you heard what she said if you want this relationship to get better. And like, he was taking it all in. And he said that he was going to try to apply what his dad told him, you know? And so I didn't believe it. I didn't think he would, but he tried. So she came down looking sexy in this great dress. And I kind of like to say, eat your heart out to him. And he was like, you know, you look great. You're going on a date. And she was like, yes. And then he tried. He was like, I'm going to take what my dad said and try to use it. And then he tried to do an apology. Did you think it was sincere?
No.
Yeah, she didn't either. She was like, this is not going to work. I need to see your actions. Actions speak louder than words. And that's the truth.
That's the whole thing about listening versus hearing. Like, he hears her, but when you take what you hear and you action it, that's listening. And so I think it's like, that was her whole point. Like, you hear me, sure, but you're not doing anything about it.
Right. And so let's hope that he received it. And then she was essentially saying, you know, you apologize, but that's not enough. I need to see actions. And so then she went on her date, and he was cute. He was younger. I think
like his hair, like the color,
the blondes. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was okay. It wasn't great.
I would have been like, what did they set me up with? Like, I mean, yeah, he was cute, but
Right.
How old are you?
I had a hard time understanding him. I had to put on captions. Like, I couldn't understand what he was saying. I think just because he mumbles his words a little bit. So they were flirting hard. There was a lot of chemistry, I thought, between the two of them. And he was telling some stories. that story about his girlfriend. I've never heard a guy say he broke up with a girl because she wanted too much sex. That had to be a first.
Well, he was saying she was wanting it like 3 times a day, at least every day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've seen a lot of guys say that that's too much. You know, I mean, I guess guys that don't, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like say that they're a sex addict or something like every single day, 3 times a day. I think a lot of men would say that that's a lot.
And I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think men can do it 3 times a day. Like, no, I don't think so. Even at that age, maybe when they're in their 20s, maybe during college, yeah, they probably could. But obviously,
every day, like you're not doing nothing else.
Right. How can you fit it in?
Does he have a job?
Are they going to classes?
Her meetings and sometime during the day and at night. I don't think she's working. I mean, he's working.
And then he would say that they were having threesomes. So he was cute. Like, like she said, that he seems like a player. And if she's having issues with Otis, she's definitely gonna be having issues with this guy, trust issues. So, but I think it was fun for her, and he made her feel pretty and wanted. Mm-hmm. And I think, she was into him, but was she as into him because of what happened with the DMs, or was she really into him because of who he is? Mm-hmm. So it's a guess. Then Otis, and I think that was it. No, they went back, and Otis and Charlie had a dinner. Mm-hmm. And he sat down. They both looked really tired, but she was perky. She had more energy than he did. And she was like, I really want to talk and hash this out. And he was like, I don't want to talk about it. And she was like, what? I mean, he was refusing to talk about the situation, the issues that they were having. And they went back and forth until she was like, okay, I'm leaving. Then all of a sudden he wanted to talk about it. But by that point, it was too late for her. And she was like, you know what? You said you don't want to talk about it. So I'm done. I'm going to go my separate way. You go your separate way. And that's it. And then he got up and left. So do you think that she's really done? Or was she just saying that, in the heat of the moment?
I want her to be done, but I don't think she's really done.
Mm-hmm. But I think she's realizing that he's probably not the one for her. I hope he is.
I mean, I think that's so frustrating for a man or anyone to do something that's wrong, hurt someone that they love, mm-hmm. and because you don't want to, you don't want to be in the heat, you say that you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. When you're in the wrong, right?
Earlier, and you had a little apology, but that wasn't. You didn't answer none of my questions about mm-hmm. Why, what you were talking about, why you mm-hmm. felt like that was the appropriate thing to do,
and why didn't you tell me in the privacy of our own home and not in mm-hmm. front of everybody else? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if it's something you're gonna keep to yourself, keep it to yourself the whole time. Don't bring it up. Mm-hmm. Don't spring it on me in front of everybody. Right, yeah, that would set me off.
It set her off. Yeah.
You really had a whole day to tell me this.
Right.
To prepare me,
so I'm not embarrassed and just as shocked as everybody else. Mm-hmm. Because that made it even worse. It mm-hmm. made it even more shady. Mm-hmm. So then we switched to Alfonso and Shay. Mm-hmm. And we had another family get together. And this time it was Shay's mom and her aunt. Her mom looked like her sister. Mm-hmm. Yeah, her mom looked really good. And her aunt looked a little crazy. She had a million things on. None of it matched. She needed to take about 10 things off, and then she would have been good. She's a teacher. So the Lord probably just told her to put these things on. And then she left. But once again, these families gave great advice. And I think her aunt was saying, you got to figure out if this is what you want, if he's giving you enough to stay. And if he's not, then it's okay for you to go. And I think that really hit her because she knows that she needs to go. She knows that he's probably never going to give her what she wants. You don't believe her?
Honey, when she told me the story about them getting married, I was too done with her because I'm like, now what the fuck are you doing? Because like, he really like.
It wasn't neither of their faults. That
no, not that part. Because they thought they were getting married.
Right. Yeah.
But this man still hasn't introduced you to his mother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he's still entertaining other women. Like,
right. Yeah.
Like he's single.
Right. Yeah.
And you're confused as to why you guys like. I just don't understand.
I think now she's confused as to why she wants to stay with him. Why she wants to stay with him. So
I can't find one reason unless she's not working. He paying all her bills.
No, she is working. Remember, she said her mom was like, "Are you still working from home?" And she's like, "Yeah, I love it. I love working from home."
Well, then I can't think of a reason.
Yeah, I can't unless he's laying it down or she likes.
That's not good enough reason.
Because he's not the only one that can. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's just caught up in him and is in love, but I think she's realizing that he's not capable of giving her, and it seems like he's not even trying, and he doesn't say much, like, right? We don't hear him talk that much. So
it was funny because like last week when he gave that advice to the other men, I was just like, good. What? Honestly, like I was even looking at the TV. I was just like, are they talking to somebody else, or is that one of the guys that's talking? Like, I was surprised.
Yeah, and he had really good advice.
Yeah.
So he can, but he doesn't with her. Or at least we don't see it. So maybe he's like this, like lyrical orator or something with her, but like he's quiet with everyone else. I don't know. But hopefully, and it seemed like next episode, she thinks about it more when they get together, when the girls get together. And I kind of like that there was no date. I like that we got to get to know the people more. There was only like one set of date. I like that we got to, connect with them more.
One thing I want to say about Shea and Alfonso was like, I think it was at the beginning when they had the session at the beginning, and he was just like, "Oh, she's not going nowhere." Well,
I mean, obviously, she had to do the ringer and she's still there.
But I mean, that should be a wake-up call that he's treating you like this because he doesn't think you're gonna go anywhere.
Right.
I don't think you got anywhere to go.
Right. Yeah.
Because you went somewhere for 2 months and you came right on back.
Yeah.
So I think that hopefully that's like a wake-up call and all this other stuff. Like, I hope this process, I really hope it works for these people.
Right.
Because toxic city. These relationships, toxic.
But we did get some scoop from Kenneth. He commented on our last week's episode, and he said, wait until the reunion because he has some stories to tell. So we will be there. We will have our ears open.
They can't wait either. So yeah, we'll
right. We'll definitely be listening. So I think that's it. I mean, I thought it was a good episode. I'm tired of them, and I hope we start seeing some like changes in the relationships and realizations that these relationships aren't any good. I mean, yeah. So yeah. Okay.
I like that.
I know.
It's exhausting. Like, I think at least like 3 people, in the set of 6 have used the term emotionally draining. And that's how I feel watching the show. Emotionally drained. Like I'm in the relationship.
Right. That's true. All right, people. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to, go ahead.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.